Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out a game from the Global Game Jam 2015 called Kanyon Bird. This is a kind of quap-like style physics game where we're going to be using alternating Xbox 360 controller sticks to try and not only keep a bird flying through the air, but also to try and gain momentum to avoid all the obstacles and various things that are going to be in the way as we fly down the canyon. So let's look at the credits real quick and then we'll jump in and give it a couple of tries. There we go, so there's the people responsible for Kanyon Bird, and let's jump back to the menu. Controls are a little bit strange in the main menu. It seems like you have to press them many times before it'll actually respond. If you are planning on trying this one, I want to definitely caution you, almost definitely try and play this with a 360 controller if you can. I found it very frustrating on the keyboard. In fact, I'm not sure I was actually able to make much of anything happen. I failed like 20 times, and then I was like, so, I don't know if this game is just broken or what, and then I looked up for some documentation. As it turns out, 360 controller is basically the way to play. So let's give it a try, and I'll show you what we can do. Alright, so we're going to be going left, right, kind of in time with the music, honestly. And we need to go quickly to try and stay in the air. Oh my god, barely just glanced the floor there. Game's got kind of a cool little art style, too. It's kind of a low-res, low-poly kind of thing, but it works pretty well. There's maybe a little bit in terms of, like, seams flickering and such, but we made it 88 meters on that one. Not particularly the best performance that I've had so far. And in fact, after switching from keyboard back to controller, I found out that actually I was not terrible at this game, and I managed to take it from being absolutely awful to actually completing it in maybe 5 attempts or so, which is something I'm hoping I can replicate for you right here, because it's actually pretty tricky. But once you get on a roll, it's quite a bit of fun as well, and hopefully the click-clacking of my control sticks is not too annoying. So what I'm basically trying to do here is when I want to stay up in the air, I'm alternating, but then when I want to try and lean left or right, I'm basically just leaning on just one wing instead of the both of them. Kind of a neat thing, too, is that the music sort of seems to correspond with some of the motion that you need to make things happen in this game. I don't know if it's just an accident or what, but it definitely does seem to go pretty well. Okay. I'm not sure if that was rigged or what, but it seemed like I was going to go over it, and then the game decided, actually, you can't go over that. We're just going to kind of, like, guide you into that wall. So I think when you see, like, an opening in the canyon, you're probably meant to just go through it. I should probably not try and be so clever next time if possible. Nope, not going to happen on that one. So I'm seeing this is actually like a really fun kind of a game that could be expanded upon to have a lot more going on in the long term for it. I like the way that the controls work, but I think that they're also maybe a little bit finicky, and I mean, that's part of the fun for a quap-like game like that. And I'm using that term very loosely here. I'm just sort of saying a thing where you alternate some sort of control mechanism a bunch of times to make stuff happen. Oh my god, how did I survive up until that point even? But I'm imagining, making a bunch of canyons, making maybe even procedurally generated canyons, and then maybe making it so instead of having to sort of rub the control stick left and right like you do, or sort of in a 180-degree motion from top to bottom on both sides, maybe instead of that we just use, like, alternating triggers with some sort of leaning on the control sticks. I mean, that might make it too easy, honestly, then. But I'm imagining that if you let the controller be a little bit more precise, you could probably also pull off some more interesting things in the landscape as well. I don't know if that's actually necessary, but it just seems like the next way to go forward with this idea. Making the landscapes more interesting, making them more diverse, and then making them randomly generated, and then maybe even seeded or something like that. And then you could race your friends, have competitions and such like that. Of course, as you go, you would have to unlock various, customizations for your bird, get a top hat, get the usual stuff. I'm sure if they wanted to take it in that direction, there could be monetization options there as well. Not that I'm necessarily advocating that, but it seems like the type of thing that would happen. So a lot of the time with bird-related games seems to go in that direction. And as with a lot of bird-related games, I think this is one that probably would not fit very well on iOS. The controls being kind of the main concern here. I was really hoping I could get a little bit further than this, but I guess it was a bit of a fluke that I got so far last time. I'm maybe not as good as I thought I was in my head. So right now, I think my best bet for technique is to alternate, but I've also had some success just kind of flailing wildly and then just going really, really fast. Let's see. I don't think I can actually just go over the top of that. I think I'm going to try it again, though, just in case. Maybe that's what those palm trees are there. Yeah, it totally guides you in a way that I think is maybe not quite right. I mean, I understand there's got to be a ceiling to things to force you to go through the obstacles, but at the same time, like, you don't know where those ceilings are going to appear. Oh, that was cheap. I totally got through it. And then my wing clipped, like, after the fact, unfortunately. Alright, this is going to be the run. I can see it happening right now. I can visualize it. Alright, flail wildly. Get some height. Now, just use right wing. Okay, get some height again. Flail wildly. Okay, flail wildly to the left. I'm actually putting my whole body into it at this point. Now, just the left wing. Now, flail wildly again. Now, just the left wing. I actually have to concentrate a lot harder on this than I expected. Okay, this is really scary. Okay, go back up again. The bird's kind of just, like, following the channel surprisingly well. What's going on top of that cliff? Is that anything I should care about? Oh, I can't see it! And I crashed into a rock. 234 meters. That might be the best I do on this video, but I will keep attempting for a moment or two here. I just think it would be a lot of fun to have like a daily challenge or something, get your friends all involved, and everyone could have a leaderboard. Maybe you get 5 attempts at the daily seed, and then, you know, it would be obviously randomly generated, and everybody does, you know, does their best, and then, of course, post their leaderboard scores and all that. Seems like it would be perfectly suited for that. I could see this being like one of those, you know, rather not super expensive Steam games, maybe like $2 or something, $2 to $5, depending on how much meat ends up landing in the game. But, you know, I would definitely get into this. It, again, needs a little bit of refinement. The controls are maybe still a little bit odd, but again, you know, it's a co-op-style game. Maybe the controls need to be odd for it to be fun. I'm kind of curious, actually, what you guys think. If you want to try this out, it is free, of course. You can go ahead and give it a download and, you know, let me know if the controls work for you or what, or if you find them unintuitive or confusing or, you know, not really able to be manipulated properly. I feel like there is a science to it. It's just going to take me a while to get decent, which, again, is part of the appeal, I suppose, and I've said that about 100 times now. But this thing that keeps happening where, like, the bird will just kind of, like, zoom down out of the sky for no reason. I don't really understand that. I think it's because I'm just going too high, and then the game's like, well, you can't be that high, man. You're trying to escape the canyon. We don't appreciate that kind of thing in Canyon Bird. So it's in the title. You've got to stay in the canyon for this to be any fun. And then, of course, you could have weird skin swaps where you got to do the Kessel Run. I can see this getting really wacky, and surprisingly, you know, thematically this makes sense and is just kind of, like, lighthearted and fun. But you could even take it really over the top for something like this, too, if it seemed like the way to go. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to get much better at this, so I think let's just leave it at that. Other one thing that I might change to, and this is just my own personal observation, you guys can feel free to disagree, but I think that the music should not reset every time you die, because then it ends up that you only hear the first 10 seconds of it when you're really bad, which is kind of frustrating to keep you in the beginning. It also keeps you kind of involved in the game, and I've noticed the same happens with Super Meat Boy. When you die, you don't feel like it's as detrimental, because it's not like you're really resetting, you're just sort of, you know, elaborating upon a bigger world of your own gameplay, if that makes any sense. And it may not, but that's okay. I've been landing on a lot of points like that recently. I know maybe I'm a little fragmented since I'm going away to PAX, but doing my best here. That's Canyon Bird. You guys should check it out. Link's going to be in the description. Let me know what you think. See if you can solve the whole thing, if you can, you know, finish the whole thing. I never say solve the whole thing. That's something that I've always been frustrated when people say, and yet I've said it myself now. But see if you can finish the whole thing. There's a target at the end. You got to land on it. It should give you points for how close you can get to the center, but I don't think it does. But that could be part of the fun as well. You know, like a bit trip run or 2 thing. But yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Canyon Bird, if you have any inklings one way or the other. And leave a like on the video if you liked it. Be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day. Look forward to bringing another one tomorrow. And I hope to see you back for that then. Hope you have a great night, everybody. Talk to you all later.